First of all, you are not going to fail. If you clicked on this video as a confirmation bias to find out reasons why you're inevitably going to fail at journaling, just go ahead and do yourself a favor and get that out of your brain. I believe in you. You're not going to fail. You are going to stick with it and you are going to be successful at journaling. And the first reason why you might not be is because you tell yourself you are going to fail. When it comes to journaling, building trust with yourself is one of the most important things to do. And it's one of the most important benefits of journaling. But in that, when you start that, you have to believe in yourself. The words you say to yourself have such an enormous impact on how you live your life and how you view yourself. So if you start out to do anything in life and you tell yourself, yeah, I'm probably not going to follow through with it, yeah, I'm probably going to fail at that, you are much more likely to not follow through. You are starting a self-fulfilling prophecy because you are planting those seeds of doubt within yourself, and you need to have confidence. Maybe the reason you were thinking that you might fail at journaling is because you have in the past. And I'm going to be honest, if you've failed at it in the past, you are probably more likely to not continue doing it when you set out to journal again. And that is because when you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, with anything in life, whether it's journaling or going to the gym or something else, when you don't follow through with your word, you break that trust with yourself. And so when you tell yourself you're going to journal and you've tried to do it in the past and you didn't follow through with it, then you're probably going to automatically assume like, oh, I might not be successful at it again. But we need to break out of that mindset of I'm just gonna fail, because that's not gonna get us anywhere. You need to prove to yourself that you are reliable for yourself, that you're gonna do what you say you're going to do. Show yourself that self-respect to show up for yourself. By the way, my name is Carrie and I have been journaling since I was 6 years old, and I started daily journaling when I was 14, which means I've been daily journaling now for over 8 years, almost 8.5, which is over 4,000 days in a row. I make lots of journaling videos. I'm obsessed with journaling. It's pretty much a personality trait of mine. And one of the things I want to do for you is to help you journal and to help you stick with journaling. It has truly changed my life in a million bajillion different ways. I could go on forever about how, but in today's video, I wanted to continue giving you guys some tips on how you're not going to fail at journaling. And the ways you're not going to fail is by breaking through all of the excuses that you have for yourself. You are stronger than your strongest excuse. But in order to break through those excuses, we have to identify them and then we gotta knock them down. So the first one that we already covered was that you are telling yourself you're going to fail. Knock it down, get it out of your brain. Number two, you might just not have time. Wrong. This is a lie that you tell yourself. I get it. We are all so busy. Everybody has so much going on in their lives, and especially if you aren't used to journaling every day or at all, it can feel like a lot to add something to your routine, whether it's on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That can feel like a lot when you're not used to doing it and you have so many other things to do. But I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, if he wanted to, he would, which I honestly have mixed feelings on for a few other different reasons. But going with that thought process, if you wanted to, you would. So if you wanted to journal and you really wanted to do it, you're gonna make it happen. Journaling does not even need to take that long. It can if you want it to, but it does not need to be hours and hours of writing every day. It can literally take 5 minutes or less. So if you have time to watch this video right now, then you probably have time to journal. You can also go on your phone, look up your screen time and see, ooh, I could maybe cut down on that a little bit and journal instead. I'm honestly really guilty of that sometimes. If I'm going through a busy season and I'm scribbling through my journal entries and I'm not really spending a lot of time in them, initially I might be like, yeah, it's just because I'm so busy, I'm so tired. But then I'll find myself taking a 10-minute break from my work and just scrolling on my phone. And I'm like, I could have just journaled during that time. And I get we want to have like a nice little brain break and just mindlessly scroll on our phone sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that if it's occasional. But even though journaling might take some mental energy, it ultimately is beneficial in the long run because it makes your mind stronger. It can help you decompress in many ways. Similar to like going to the gym. Yeah, it takes work. Yeah, you might be tired afterwards, but you are getting stronger and you are doing good for your body by going. So if you're like, yeah, I just don't have the time, or I'm just so tired, I don't want to do that, just remind yourself that it might be helpful to just sit down for 5 minutes, take a breather, and just write what you're feeling. And also just be honest with yourself. Do you really not have any time? Be mindful about those opportunities throughout your day where you could have gone and journaled. Be honest with yourself. That's another way of building trust with yourself. Do you not have the time, or are you not making the time? And it's okay to admit if you're not making the time, but don't lie to yourself and say you don't have the time if you really might actually have the time. Because remember, if you wanted to, you would. Number 3, you just forget to do it. If you're not used to journaling, it can be really easy to forget to do it. Heck, I've been journaling for my entire life and I've been doing it every day for years, but even then, I still have to remind myself sometimes, hey, I still gotta journal for the day. At this point, it's pretty much ingrained in me, it's in my blood. So most days, it's always on my mind of like, okay, I still need to do that for the day. But I would be lying if I said that there hasn't been days where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like almost midnight and I haven't journaled yet and I totally forgot. So glad I looked at the time and remembered that I still need to journal. So especially if you're new to journaling, it's really easy to forget. You might be really motivated when you first start journaling, and then, you know, as you kind of get into it a little bit, just after a few days, after a week or so, you might be like, okay, the newness has worn off, and then you just forget because it's not really a part of your routine just yet. That's okay, and that's understandable. But what you want to do is help yourself not forget. And you can do that by a variety of different ways. You can get a journaling buddy, have each other hold yourself accountable, maybe schedule like a weekly little journaling sesh together, text each other when you've done your journaling for the day, maybe sit on FaceTime and journal at the same time together. You can also set alarms for yourself. I do this all the time. One of my rules for myself is that I have to start my journal entry before midnight. And so when I'm in the middle of doing work and I'm like, I don't really want to take a break to journal right now because I'm in a really good workflow, or if I'm just like not in the mood to journal right at that moment, I'll set an alarm at 11:30 or something to remind myself, okay, I need to remember to start journaling before midnight strikes and before I just go to bed. Even if I were to accidentally fall asleep, my alarm is going to go off at 11:30 and remind myself, oh my gosh, I forgot I still need to journal. I also like to plan ahead. So if I know that I am going to be going out to dinner or something and I haven't journaled yet for the day, then I will put my journal on my bed so that when I get back, it will be right there and I'm going to see it. I'm not going to get home from dinner, go shower, and just go to sleep and forget about it, because when I go to lay down for bed, my journal's right there and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I still need to do that. So set yourself up for success in those ways. Or if you know that you have a really busy second half of your day, then maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to journal first thing in the morning because I'm not really going to have too much time later and I don't want to have to forget about it when I'm super busy and get swept up with my to-do list that I forget to do it altogether. So planning ahead can be really helpful. If you use a calendar or any sort of like daily to-do list tracker, just add your journaling on there. Put it on your to-do list. Put it on your calendar. Write sticky notes. Put a sticky note on your mirror. Put a sticky note on your desk. Put it on your steering wheel in your car. Do what you gotta do so that you don't forget. Number 4, you don't know what to write. I get it. The blank page can be kind of daunting sometimes, especially if your brain is tired and you're just like, I'm not in the mood to do this and I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to write about. But don't condemn yourself to failing journaling just because you don't know what to write about, because there are so many things that you can write about. And I know a lot of the times a lot of people will say, well, I didn't do anything interesting today. I don't have anything to write about because I didn't do anything. I have 2 things about that. One, you can write about the tiniest little thing that happened in your day. Even if you literally sat and did nothing all day, you can write about that. And you can write about how that made you feel. Do you like having your days filled with nothing? Is it a good way to relax? Or do you want to maybe make a change and have tomorrow be something that is a little bit more filled with things to do? What could you do tomorrow that could make your day better? And 2, you don't always need to write about your day. You can write about your thoughts on the world. You can write about random thoughts that you have. You can draw things. You can make to-do lists. You can even literally write, I don't know what to write right now. My mind is so blank. You also can look up journaling prompts. There are so many great journaling prompts out there for you to respond to and to just get some inspiration of things that you could write about. You can write about past memories that you have, future goals and aspirations. Also, when you don't have something to write about, you then are stretching your brain to think about what you could maybe write about. Something also that I find helpful is when you're going throughout your day and you see something or hear something or think of something that you're like, ooh, that was interesting, or I might want to write about that, just jot it down in the notes app on your phone, or even like with your journal. If you have your journal on you, you could just like literally write, I want to write about this later, and just put like a little bullet point or something. But like with the notes app on your phone, sometimes I'll just keep like a running list throughout my day of, okay, this thing, this thing, this thing, or like a random thought that I have, because then I can go back and reference it when I do sit down to journal and I can be like, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking about earlier. Honestly, sometimes my thoughts are just like in one ear, out the other. They just like fly away from my brain. So if I don't write it down in the moment when I'm having the thought, I might not actually remember to write about it later. So just keeping some sort of list can be really helpful. The 5th thing is that you might overcomplicate it. You do not need to set these unrealistic expectations for yourself. When you journal, you don't need to write 5 pages every single day. You don't need to decorate each entry and make it so beautiful. It doesn't need to be super duper thought-provoking and incredible every single time you sit down to write. You don't have to do those 3 stream of consciousness pages every morning. Don't get me wrong, you absolutely can if you want to, but don't overcomplicate it. Journaling, at the end of the day, all you need for it is a journal and a pen, and just write. Because honestly, when you overcomplicate it, especially when you're first getting into journaling, that can just make it feel really overwhelming. Again, you might feel motivated in it at first, but when life gets inevitably very busy or you're not really feeling as motivated, it's a lot easier to excuse 5 pages of journaling when you're like, ugh, I'm not feeling that, than if you were to just say, you know, I'm just going to journal just for a couple minutes. If you have all of these expectations of what you're supposed to do every time you journal, that just puts a lot of pressure on yourself, and then boom, one day you struggle to meet those expectations for yourself, and then you feel like you failed. It's okay to start small, set tiny goals for yourself. Just write a couple sentences each day, or maybe don't even start with daily journaling, just start with journaling here and there. Put some ink on the page and show up for yourself. Similarly, number 6 is that you feel like you need to be perfect or aesthetic in your journaling. Your journaling does not need to be perfect. In fact, it should not be perfect, because life is not perfect, and your journal is a reflection of your life or your thoughts and your feelings, etc. Give yourself permission to have a messy journal entry. Give yourself permission to have an ugly journal entry. It's okay to scribble all over the page. Your journal can also be inconsistent. You can have a very beautiful journal entry on one page, and then the next page can be super scribbly and ugly. Also, maybe we should stop hating on scribbly ugly journal entries, and we should start giving it a little more love, because honestly, we should embrace all the good days and the bad, because that's just a part of life. When you sit down to journal, if you aren't really feeling in a super artsy fartsy mood, if you're not feeling really mentally equipped to write a whole bunch or make it look super beautiful in your journal, that's okay. Release this idea that your journal needs to be an art project or an essay. It doesn't need to be like a novel of your life. It's a journal of your life. And that leads me into the 7th thing, and that's that you compare yourself to others. Comparing yourself to people can make it so much easier to fail at journaling. At the end of the day, you are who you are, and you don't need to replicate somebody else's journal to feel like your journal is good enough. Also, I see these beautiful, magnificent journal entries all over Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube, where they're flipping through and every single page looks beautiful. And honestly, I don't help with this either, because oftentimes on my YouTube channel, I show like my best journal entries, because those are things that people are actually interested in seeing. Usually they like to see the super pretty things and like to get ideas of what to write and how to write and things to create in your journal entry. Not everybody's wanting to see my little scribbles on a page, but I should probably be better and more intentional about showing those kinds of things, so that if you're gonna be comparing yourself to people, at least you're comparing it to something that's a little bit more realistic and attainable. Because it's okay if your journal entries don't look like all the ones that you see on Pinterest. And as much as it's great to get inspiration from other people, your journal is also your own, so you can make it whatever you want. You can get ideas from other people, but you can also use ideas of your own. Journaling is such a personal thing to do, so if you are going online and only looking at what other people do, then you're losing that personalization of it. So try not to compare your journal too much to what other people's look like, unless it's just for like a source of inspiration. But don't think your journal isn't good just because it doesn't look like what someone else's journal looks like. Your journal can be whatever you want. There are no rules and there's no way to do it wrong, so you are not failing if your journal doesn't look like someone else's. The next reason you might fail at journaling is that you're tying your self-worth to your streaks of journaling. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and say I am a very bad example when it comes to this one, because I'm sure I do not help at all. I take pride in my streaks. In so many of my videos I'm talking about how long I've been journaling. Oh, I've been journaling since this age, for this many years, for this many days. I have this many journals. I share so many numbers, and that can be helpful for like a point of reference, but it's also not helpful when you base your journaling success off of that, especially when you're first starting. Some people think that if you miss a day of journaling, or if you miss a week, or you break your routine in any way, then all of a sudden you've failed. And as much as I think it is important to follow through with what you tell yourself you're going to do, if you mess up or you make a mistake or you forget to journal or you fall through and make an excuse for yourself, it is okay if you break your streak. It's also okay to not even have a streak at all and to just journal whenever you want. You don't need to journal every single day to be successful. You just have to do it at some point. When I first started journaling, I was not journaling consistently. I did not have any kind of streak, and I didn't have a streak of journaling until I was like 8 years into doing it. I have so many journal entries in my first couple journals where I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to write. I haven't written in like 2 months. I'm so terrible. And like, that's okay. I wasn't used to doing it all the time. I also didn't prioritize it. I made so many excuses, and here I am now. Journaling is just about checking in with yourself. It's not necessarily about having a perfect attendance record. And if you set out to have some sort of routine or consistency in your journaling and you mess it up, then maybe give yourself some time to build up to that, instead of just saying, okay, I'm gonna start journaling every single day now when I've literally never journaled before. You can do that if you want, but you could also be like, I'm gonna first start out by just journaling once a week, and then I'm gonna do it by doing it twice a week, and then every other day, and then I'm gonna start journaling every day. Or maybe you're like, I wanna start journaling every day. I'll just try it out, see how it feels for a week, see how it goes, and then after a week, reevaluate. Do you wanna keep doing it every day? Do you wanna maybe try to wean off a little bit? Do you wanna try to maybe just do every other day or once a week or so? And if you set a goal for yourself that you mess up or you don't meet, it's okay, because you can literally just pick it up again whenever you want, at any time. I would caution you in getting too comfortable with that mindset of like, oh, it's okay, I can just pick it back up whenever, because if you really do want to meet those goals that you have for yourself, at some point you do have to be disciplined, and you can't keep making those excuses, because then that in itself is how you're going to fail at journaling. There definitely needs to be a balance of having grace with yourself and having discipline to actually follow through with what you say you're gonna do and to build that trust with yourself. Also, having big goals for yourself is great. If you're like, I want to fill up 20 journals, that's amazing. But if you're going to do that, then make sure you break it down into smaller goals, because it's not about the streak of how many journals you have. It's about the fact that you did it every day for however long that it took you to do it. So focus on the little goals of that. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to journal page after page. Over time, that will add up. When I first started journaling, I wasn't like, I'm gonna just journal every day for 10 years. When I first started journaling, I was like, I just want to journal, and I just did it whenever it felt right. And then as I got into it more, I started journaling more frequently. And then as I was doing it more frequently, I was like, what if I did it every day for a year? And then I just was doing it every day. And then there it was. And in that, I started filling up more journals. And then I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing this. I kept doing it every single day, and it's added up to my whole stack of journals, to the many years of journaling that I've been doing. But even when I sat down to daily journal, I was not thinking I was gonna be doing it for as long as I am. I didn't really have any goals for myself, honestly. But even if I did, even if I was like, I want to journal for 10 years, or for like right now when I'm like, I want to journal for the rest of my life, there's a lot of flexibility with that. I'm not focused on the overarching goal and streak of it. I'm just focused on doing it every day, and over time that adds up. Number 9, you make it a chore. This can be a really easy thing to fall into, especially if you are waiting to the very last minute in your day right before bed to journal. I feel this a lot sometimes when I'm so tired and I just want to go to bed and I'm really not feeling in a journaling mood. Sometimes journaling can feel like a chore. You want to make sure that you are setting time aside to journal, especially when you're building the habit of it, because if you're always rushing through it and you're always trying to squeeze it into your schedule without much thought or planning, then it can definitely become more of a chore to journal rather than something that you're wanting to do. And if your journaling is constantly feeling like a chore, ask yourself why. You could even journal about it. Be like, why is this feeling like a chore? Is it because I'm really busy, I'm really stressed, and so everything feels like a chore in my day? Do I need to make a lifestyle change? Or is it because I've set all of these rules on my journaling and all these expectations? Am I journaling too much? Should I maybe decrease the frequency in which I write? Allow yourself to change it up if you need to. I will say, when it comes to daily journaling, it's inevitably going to feel like a chore sometimes, and I do think there's benefit to pushing through that and journaling when you don't want to, because that does create an immense amount of discipline. And I think that practicing that self-accountability and following through with what you say and showing yourself that you are reliable, I think that is amazing. But if it always feels like a chore, no matter what, then maybe do some digging as to why and make a change. And number 10, the last reason why you might fail at journaling is because you don't make it fun. And that could be for a variety of different reasons, for any of the things that we've already talked about in this video. But just remember that journaling is supposed to be fun. I mean, sometimes if you're journaling about something hard, that might not feel fun, but just remember that your journal should be personalized to you. You should enjoy journaling. It should be helpful. Try to find those mindset shifts. Instead of thinking like, oh, I still have to journal for the day, think about how, oh, I get to journal still. I'm setting time aside for myself and showing up for myself. I'm spending time with me. I'm creating something beautiful on these pages. I'm getting my thoughts onto the paper and not having to think about it anymore. You can also make your surrounding environment fun. Light a candle, put on some cozy pajamas, play some music. You could go outside, walk to a park, walk to a lake, journal with the birds chirping while you're watching the sunset, journal with a friend, use different colors, try out different things in your journal entries. Make it fun. Journaling is not about documenting the perfect life, and it's also not about documenting your life perfectly. It's about documenting the reality of your life, witnessing yourself, building trust with yourself, growing and changing, creating and expressing. It's a space for your thoughts to exist outside of your mind, and that is so cool. And a last little bonus tip of why you're gonna fail at journaling is that you're not subscribed to the journaling army. I'm just kidding. You don't need to be subscribed to me to be successful in journaling, but you should still subscribe if you aren't already. I would love to have you as part of the journaling army, and hopefully it can serve as encouragement to you. We can encourage each other in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if it was helpful. I believe in you. I know that you can do it. You're not going to fail at journaling. You can do it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.